everybody, and welcome to Machtails from the Cantina Live, an impromptu episode. Happy Sunday to everybody. Hopefully you guys had a great weekend. Hopefully you guys are enjoying some baseball, and hopefully your baseball teams are not disappointing you. I know mine is not disappointing me. Rays and Cubs are performing pretty well. Last live impromptu show I did was opening day. But we're not here to talk about baseball. We are here to talk about Star Wars Celebration, the preview. We're going to do a lot of these different episodes. But on my first episode, I'd like to bring back some friends that are no strangers to the show. They've been on the show before, and they've also been supporting the show for a long time. I'd like to bring on my good friends, Dan and Ian. Dan and Ian.
Hello.
How are you guys?
How's it going?
I am good, man. You know, I got to thank you for inspiring me to do this show. You guys have this show. Dan and Ian have questions.
Yep.
I was on that. You guys just had Dan Madsen on. You guys can listen to the show for free on Apple Podcast.
Yeah, I believe it's on the Stitcher and all
Everything.
those podcatchers.
All of
We
them,
tried
man.
to. If it's not, please let us know because it's supposed to be.
I know.
Well,
We'll
I
yell at them.
Googled it because I always think it's Dan and Ian ask questions, but it's Dan and Ian have questions.
Yep.
Why did we have to be so difficult?
I know,
Just
right?
wanna keep things going. And Ian, he was like, "Hey, Chris, what are you doing on Sunday? You want to do a little show?" And I tell you, I am dying to talk about Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah.
You guys know 3 years ago from today, I'm a big anniversary guy. This is the eve of Star Wars Celebration Chicago.
Yes.
Eve. Now, you guys were both there. Now,
Yes.
Dan, I know. And Dan, you have a question by your name. Is it because you have a question?
I was just thinking that. I was like, Chris, did you put that in? You weren't sure if that was actually his name?
It was not one of my spelling typos. Yeah.
It's my moniker. That's what it is. Dan?
Dan?
Really, Dan? Yeah. Okay. That's what
Okay,
it is.
Dan, I know this is not your. I know Chicago was not your first Star Wars celebration.
Right.
Ian, that was yours. Oh yeah.
That was the first giant con I ever went to, and I really had no barometer before that. I went to there's like the Cleveland Comic Con around here where it's at, like, you know, the local fairgrounds, but much like the toy show I think we went to in your guys' area, but nothing to the scale of Celebration. And yeah, the Celebration Chicago was my first time and the biggest event I've ever been to personally.
Yeah, it was a big one for sure. It's funny, it was in my hometown, my home city, Chicago.
Lucky.
And you know, I love to travel. And I'm like, is it really in Chicago? And then of course what happened was, you know, for those of you that live in Chicago, you have to commute at least 1 hour one way. And I'm like, I am not going to commute. So I ended up getting a hotel in my own city. It was still a good convention. It was a good one. It was a little weird that it was in Chicago. I believe it was the last one that's going to take place in the Midwest. I think from here on out, you are going to see.
Oh, you think so? I don't know.
You're going to see California or Florida simply for the sake of.
I bought right into that with the sake of them being owned by Disney. Immediately after Celebration, it was like, well, it's going to be Florida or California from now on.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but I mean, still, like, there's so many like areas even in the Midwest that I can imagine that they would still hold it and be, you know, still relevant to Disney. I mean, Texas is so huge. I can imagine maybe a convention being held there, and I don't think it really necessarily has to be directly connected to Disney in one of the lands, but I feel that like that Texas can be an area that we would have a potential convention going on there.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things like, yeah, it would be beneficial for them to have it centrally located in the country. I don't know why. I mean, I know why, but I don't think we're going to really get that because I think they're just going to bank on people going to Celebration around the parks and spending all that money at the parks. I don't
Yeah.
think they're ever going to want to deviate from that sort of like fail safe of have an influx of people into the parks at least.
Yeah. I don't know, because like I enjoyed that. I really wanted to go to Chicago. I really wanted one of the conventions to happen there because I've never been there, and my wife and I have never been there. We really wanted to go, and she's like a big John Hughes fan, and
Did you guys go to filming locations?
We didn't do a lot. What we did is we actually went to a couple of the buildings that were in what was it? Married with Children. We went to the what was it? The Buckingham.
Yeah, Buckingham Fountain. Yeah, that was just
Fountain. And we took pictures of there, and then the building that's like straight back that was in Adventures of Babysitting, and we just did like all the touristy things, like just around the area that is walkable.
The Adventures in Babysitting, is that the one that they're like they're rappelling down the famous that one? Okay.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody leave this place without singing the blues.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
That's a great movie. That probably started my shoe fetish, if you will, with Elizabeth Shue. Years ago, yes.
Well, that was like one of the big mainstream Marvel Thor. We had Thor.
Yes.
Yeah, she had the helmet and Mjolnir the whole time, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, because the mechanic who was Vincent D'Onofrio, that was like his first major film because he was like in Trauma. And then he showed up as like the mechanic that looked exactly like Thor, and then he did that whole thing. And I think that was like one of the few first times that Thor was actually live on the screen or whatever. Because wasn't he on Incredible Hulk at one time?
That sounds.
That one time. Yeah,
I can believe it.
Now what we're doing, we're spending.
I'm sorry.
Too much time talking about superheroes.
I'm sorry.
People that chimed in for a Star Wars Celebration.
Right.
I'm busting your balls a little bit there.
That's okay. I expect it.
Keep it family friendly as well.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a hard time with that.
No. That's why I said, well, we might drop a couple shits.
Yeah.
Couple
like right there.
I'm the biggest instigator of that situation on our show, and
he is the guilty party.
Yeah, I was going to say I spent about an hour editing myself out of the show. So
yeah, it's always an interesting thing editing your own show. As you guys have your show, you guys listen to mine. It's one of those things. Producer Todd Suds Sedlak said, "Do you ever listen to your show after you've done it?" I'm like, "Well, you spend so much time recording it." I'm like, you kind of listen to it, but I don't like sit there and dissect, because if I did that, I probably would not release it on a weekly.
Right.
Fashion,
Yeah. Exactly.
You guys know it's a challenge. Brian Klein is chiming in. Brian Klein, is he busting my balls? I can see Mark streaming from. Of course. Brother Rich Brendel is chiming in. Ian, your fly is down.
How did he see that?
It's kind of like the Statler or Waldorf.
I know, right? Yeah. Very critical.
All Patreon members.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Hey, speaking about Patreon, real quick, before we go into Star Wars Celebration Chicago a little bit more, I did this poll on the website, and I have a lot of different characters that I use for Machtails. I have the girls, the twins.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Look at that.
I also have the R2 server. This is actually Tampa Bay Ray colors, so he's like TB 69 or something like that. I forget what number he is. And then, of course, I have this is one of my promo items to give away at Star Wars Celebration.
That's awesome.
I got the Wampa, right? So I did a poll. Who's your favorite character? Before, I don't know if you guys voted, or I don't know if you know any of the results, but who's your favorite character out of the bunch?
Wampa.
I was gonna say Dan goes for the Wampa. I thought the Wampa, and then I saw R2 on there, and I'm like, all right, I like Funky R2. Funky R2's got the drinks, he's got the vibes, he's there for the party.
He's there for the party. Yeah,
he's ready for mocktail.
Yep,
he's the server. Well, you know what? R2 is winning.
Yeah,
oh, really?
Yeah, and I'm like,
wow.
So then I start thinking, oh my God, did I start offending people with putting slave Twi'leks?
No.
And I
loved watching episode 1 with my girlfriend the other day. I'm like, there they are. are. They're in the background.
Yeah.
They're rubbing down some boba.
Yeah, keeping it as family friendly as they could.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Right.
I actually talk about these girls on the new Mocktails weekly podcast, episode 67. They are actually in the modeling business. And I go a little bit into depth, a little bit of history with the ladies that played the twins. They're twin sisters, obviously, the actresses are. But going back to Celebration Chicago. So it's announced in April, 3 years ago, almost to the day, that Celebration was going to happen the following year. And I'm like, whoa, too much of a good thing. I said, Star Wars Celebration is usually like wine. There's some years in between. Never have we had a celebration in the United States. Just John Zancanaro says R2 is great as well. Never did we have a celebration in the States that took place the following year.
Right.
I don't know if I want to go. And then all of a sudden, this happens.
Oh, geez, huh?
That happens. And then I'm like, man, if there was Star Wars Celebration in 2020, I would go. So, now, Dan, I got to ask you, did I get this, Dan, from you?
Yeah, you got it from me. We did a trade.
I'm holding up my non-existent one.
Yeah. I think
this is the coolest patch. Do you know who made this patch?
It's actually some guy from like, I want to say like Venezuela or something like that. He was I can't remember. It's been like 2 years now. So but man, like that sold like hotcakes. Everybody wanted that copy of that patch. Sure. It was amazing.
Dan, show me what I traded you. I know
Oh, there you go.
It was that the
I remember this. I remember this. This was a public trade-off. I remember this one now.
And then there we go.
The ace of spades. Yeah.
You win some, you lose some, baby.
Oh, I love it. It's a Marvel pack.
Yeah.
So, hey, there's a lot of cool swag for Celebration. I got to watch out how much money I'm spending. I did want to share, again, with the coasters. I got the girls on this.
Man.
Oh, yeah. Those are awesome, dude.
And I got this here.
Yeah.
Now, is there a color for that yellow, or is that just a shade of yellow that you like? Because I found Dan and I with doing some of these, like when we talk about collectors or we try to incorporate something. I think Dan, didn't you call it the like the vintage yellow or something to that effect?
Vintage yellow. Yeah.
So the idea, I want to show you guys the idea and the color scheme is taken directly from the vintage Kenner line.
Right.
So that one's got the yellow and the white and the red. And then
the coaster is exact. That's awesome. Yeah,
that's great.
The red. So there was an offer on the card backs of this color, and I think it might have been the Admiral Akbar figure that you mailed in for. I believe that's what this one.
Was that the not Starburst? What is that? They'd have like the it'd be in the corner like mail away, like or new figure coming soon, like one of those.
You know what? The offers were the circles and the star that you're talking about. They did use that, but and of course like the star versus the circle, you got to go with. If you're making a coaster, that's the cheap way to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
now, Dan, you got some swag that you're going to do. What do you got planned for Celebration?
So I always wanted to try something a little bit different. Everybody seems to be having the patches and the stickers and the pins and everything out. And I as you can see behind me, right around here is a 3D printer. And I have two of those. And I always wanted to do something a little bit different. I tried a bunch of different things out at different celebrations. At different conventions. And I finally narrowed it down to like one that I wanted to make it absolutely unique. And so what I'm going to be doing this year is I'm going to be doing the vintage style stand-up version of the Star Wars video arcade game. And as you can see, let me get the lighting a little bit better. On the inside, it has like that sickly yellow, the vector type of look there. And on the inside of it, it actually has the logo for the Star Wars Celebration in Anaheim, all in that sick green look over there. And so I wanted to make it unique to this celebration, and also pay tribute to what a lot of us used to do when we were younger, and we this actually made us be in the movie that we all loved and admired.
No, Dan, I got to tell you, I'm looking forward to getting that, but I don't think it's as cool as this one.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, this one you made, and you gave it to me, of course, in the infamous Secret Santa thing. And
that's so great.
Swap, and it's got, so I don't know if you can hear that, but
you can hear perfectly.
The 8-bit version of the Mandalorian theme. Now, Dan, the one that you got, does it play the 8-bit music?
No, it does not.
That's only for special people.
Well, I printed 300 of these, and it took me a little over a week to print 300 of these.
Now look at the size difference, Chris. You hold up yours, Dan. Yeah. He's got it in between his finger. You hold up yours. It's drastically different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no components going into that little guy.
It's kind of like remember when you went to Showbiz, like back probably like 1981, they started making the smaller arcade version.
Right.
They didn't really carry on with that line, but I can't wait to get that. Ian, I got to share with my audience what you did for Star Wars Celebration in Chicago. These are some of my favorites. Of course, Rogue One based.
Nice. I'm glad you pulled him out of the case, man. I feel so privileged. You actually opened the case to pull him out.
These were actually in the display case, and I think these are so cool. Anything Rogue One is so cool. It needs to be in my collection. What do you got planned for this time, Ian? What Rogue One thing do you have up your sleeve?
Well, not Rogue. Sorry.
Well, you better get
Rogue One
right now.
Yeah, no. Well, as Dan knows, I have ideas because we wanted to pass out just simple buttons of our own, just to give folks that are at the convention, let them know who we are and whatnot. Maybe like a button on a card. But there's an event that we all going to, the party on Wednesday. I was going to try to make something for that. But other than that, I haven't really thought about swag. It was just more of just trying to get our name out there this year, but try to make it a Dan and Ian Go to Celebration theme. Like not just a button of here's our show, but which I learned with those ones that I made for you. I didn't actually personalize it for that year. And I regretted it because that was the first time I did swag. And I'm like, oh, I didn't put anything on here telling you where it's from, what. So I basically just want to do some Dan and Ian Go to Celebration swag, mostly buttons or some pins, and hopefully hand those out and get some folks on board.
You don't have any samples though for us.
No. If you look at our logo and then add Go to Celebration.
I like
no. But no samples. I am not like you, Chris. I do not have plenty of samples ready.
You don't have things like ready to go. One of the coolest buttons, and I gotta share this story with you guys. For those of you that watch the real fans of the saga, my brother Bo Glazer passed away a couple years ago. Star Wars Celebration was a little bittersweet because it was the first celebration that I had went without him since I was attending Celebration with him. So I made a button of him, and if anybody wants one of these, find me at Star Wars Celebration. I'll have these, but it's Bo as a Jedi ghost, and I just think like there's no words, there's no logos, and I just feel like it doesn't.
If you know, you know.
Yeah,
and if you know, you know, and like you said, Ian, buttons are so cool. I got a special button made for May 25th. That's at the RFR party. Also, my birthday. I got to keep plugging my birthday.
You got it, man. You have to.
And I have to
at least once a year.
Yeah, and 300 people are invited.
When we start doing the celebration shows in May. Jason Mello chimes in. He says, "Good evening, gentlemen. Hey, Dan."
Yeah, he's actually a good friend of mine. Him and I constantly talk about Star Wars. I feel that I'm like the only one in our town that he can talk to about Star Wars openly. And everything that I made 3D printed, it's all about Star Wars. So I always send him photos about it. So how's it going, buddy?
He's a childhood friend of yours, or you met him at a Star Wars celebration?
No, actually, our sons actually went to the same daycare, and they're actually like best buddies. They're constantly asking, they're like, oh well, is my son's Calvin and his son is Camden.
Hobbs.
And yeah, I know, right? And they constantly say like, well, is Calvin going to be playing baseball, or is Calvin going to be going to the same summer camp? And like, we have to text each other to say like, is he going to this thing or is he going to that thing? And we always have to like, acknowledge, that. So.
And it's funny because you're mentioning somebody from your town, and I'm glad my brother Brian Klein pointed this out, because as soon as you started talking about somebody from your town and you said Star Wars, Brian Klein
Star Wars
pointed out that Bostonian accent you got going on.
Yeah,
Brian, we need to get you to update that profile picture, brother.
I do have
You look like you're trying out for Super Troopers on that one still.
Now, there's starting to be a lot of really cool announcements as far as guests goes.
Yeah.
And I've been doing the Star Wars celebration since Celebration 1. This will be my 11th Star Wars celebration. And I've always loved the autographs. I've always loved the photographs. And but they started charging a lot more for the autographs. Good to see official picks back. I'm excited that they're kind of fans providing the service to the fans. One thing I've noticed is that there's other conventions like CCC or whatever in Nashville.
We got a bunch of friends going out to that. That's happening real soon.
It's happening in Chicago. Now, my buddy Sean Hines had pointed out that people are cheaper for autographs and photographs. I'm like, man, shouldn't they be cheaper at Star Wars Celebration, because they're going to do a lot more volume there?
Well, I think what it is I'm sorry. I think what it is that on other conventions, they're volunteering for other people at other genres, and they have to make their prices a little bit cheaper so they can get more people to go to the tables. Where Star Wars Celebration, why you're there and who's going to be there. They're all going to be Star Wars related. So it's like, you're going to be paying the premium on something like that. That's what I just feel about it.
Yeah. I think that's a good point. That's a good point. I don't know, man. I remember for the longest time, from like Celebration 1 all the way to Celebration Anaheim in 2015, that the prices were so reasonable. Mm-hmm. And then I don't know what happened from 15 to I don't know what changed. I mean, it really became like this.
It blew up,
big money business. Like,
other than that, it's just a normal thing. Like anything else, it's going to go up in price. The longer it's around, the more people want it. It's just going to go up in price. Supply and demand, Brian. Supply and demand. So the more of us nerds are out there actually wanting to meet these folks, they know what they want. Like Dan said, they know why we're there. They know what you want. They know what you're going to pay, and you want to pay it because, sucker, you're going to pay it. But as far as it's just, they got to make their money back, man. This is a giant thing, but it does suck when I don't know what Carl Weathers is. I think
he's $100.
What, $100?
He's just $100 for an autograph.
Okay. Yeah. So that's a $20 markup from what I just saw at, I think it was like a Philadelphia Fan Expo or something that he was at.
Okay. So you've even noticed it too.
No.
Do you guys do? I'm a huge autograph and huge photograph junkie when it comes to Star Wars celebrities. With the third Jawa to the left, all the way up to Forrest Whitaker and Felicity Jones. How about you guys? You guys do the photographs and autographs, Dan? You've been kind of doing the celebration for a while.
I was never really big into autographs. When I was in high school, I would get autographs here and there. But I never really got into the bug of being a consistent going to these conventions and picking up an autograph for a celebrity. It just never really interested me. I was mostly interested in the art. And as my wife bemoans, that we only have so much wall space. So you got to cut back on the artwork, because I love art.
You don't have to tell me about wall space, my friend.
It's creeping upstairs now.
Literally, like the walkway upstairs is like, I just added so many more autograph 8x10, and I feel like my autograph's on an 8x10.
Right.
So it's like, you got several hundreds of autographs. It takes a lot of space.
I mean, it's putting a piece of floor tile on the wall.
I know, right?
Yeah. Right.
I the only autographs I really have is upstairs. I have David Prowse and Jeremy Bullock's autograph that I got back in like '95 at a local convention.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I
that was 95 or 97, the Men Behind the Mask tour. That was when they first started.
Mhm.
Yeah, man. And God, those were $20 back then.
Exactly. I was about to say, I was like, I literally probably only paid $20 for both their autographs.
I think the crazy thing is that, you paid $20 for an autograph back in the convention circuit in 95, 97. And then even at Star Wars Celebration 2015, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I spent $50 on John Ratzenberger's autograph. And now it's probably like $100. I am more of a photo guy now than an autograph
nice.
guy.
We got Glenn in there.
My brother Glenn Nelson. I got to tell you about this photo. I had Glenn stay with me and put him up. He's done so much for my projects musically.
Mm.
And I'm like, hey, let's go get a photo with John Ratzenberger. And I'm like a handshaker and a hugger. And look at John Ratzenberger's like, you ain't touching my hands, man.
Jesus, are you serious?
Little did he know that
you're grabbing his ass.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say that. He was giving a nice little pat on the back there.
I think, I wonder how he did during the pandemic. He's like, I don't want to shake anybody's hand.
Is that an actual thing? Is he a germaphobe? I've never heard that before.
I felt like he was a little bit of a germaphobe because he just had his hands in his pockets
I've heard
the whole time.
I could see that. I was listening to older podcasts with like folks that were going to conventions and doing appearances, and they're like, dude, I shook so many hands. I got so sick. I'm never doing this. This is 2015. Like people were complaining about. So I get it. He was probably ahead of the curve. Like, no. Hey, buddy. No, I ain't touching your hand.
Now it's funny
I ain't touching your hand, guy.
Sorry, Norm.
Sorry, Norm. Thing we know of now called hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
Hand sanitizer obviously did exist back then, but everyone's like, what are you using hand sanitizer?
I know, yeah, exactly.
There's going to be hand sanitizer flying around like crazy at Celebration and because we always get the con crud, and we always come in contact with so many people.
Chris, do you have an actual count of? Because I only have 3. I can count them 1, 2, and then there's another one in the other room.
3 autographs.
That's all I got. I got Peter Mayhew. I got a photo op with my son and Peter.
Those are good because those people are no longer with us. David,
right? Yeah, his autograph is it's one of those things. Like I love it for what it is, but I also hate it for what it signifies. The autograph is very poor. And because we all know at the time he was in very poor health, but the only reason he was there is because of folks like me and my son hoping to meet Chewbacca. And he stuck it out because I posted some autograph and some guys were kind of shitting on it. And it's like, what are you? That's him, man. And they probably were kicking themselves in the ass. And, a week and a half, 2 weeks later, and the guy passed away
relatively quickly after that.
Yeah, so it was a big shock, meeting the guy. My son got a compliment. That's the one thing my son will always walk away with. He's dressed as Han Solo. So of course we walk in and he's sitting on a stool and he's still another 2 feet taller than my son. And he looks at my son and very quietly says, "Nice costume." And just puts his giant fist. That's my son says his fist was the size of my head.
Right.
And he put his big giant fist out and gave my son a fist bump. Made a pretty good face because I saw some of the pictures he was taking and some of the faces he's like doing some goofy stuff. And this one he actually just did a smile and went on. But I was so happy with that. I got Emily Swallow and the armorer from Mandalorian and Jeremy Bullock. But what is cool is I got Jeremy Bullock after Celebration and it was only like $30. So it was that old school price. Because he was just doing a thing from his home. You got to choose from like 5 or 6 photos, but it was $30. He'd sign it, send it on its way. Yeah. So that was nothing. Yeah. And then of course we lost Jeremy real quick after that.
Yeah.
You guys got some good ones,
I think really what it is, and I talked about this yesterday, like when we were all having our little soiree on the Zoom, is that I was never really much of a autograph hound because I was more into like the stories because I don't have any autographs, so I always tell the story of how I met like Ray Park, and I was like, I was at a bar and I was completely hammered during like one of the nights, and I was like, I saw him sitting across over, and I told this other guy, I'm like, we're gonna go meet him. We're gonna go meet Ray Park. And so I went over there and I drunkenly talked to him for a good 20 minutes about like what during that time that was Celebration Anaheim, the first one. And we talked about the first trailer of When Force Awakens. And I just regaled him with my theories of like what it was all about. And he's like, oh yeah, all right, yeah, that was it. But like still, the memories are something that I take away from that. It's the autographs are a lot of times they're just like little niceties. You get an autograph and then you're on your way. And I feel like I would prefer memories and experiences than just getting autographs for something. So
yeah, I can see that. For me, I'm going to have Frank Rich. He's from New England. He does the Star Wars autograph podcast and website. He's very tight.
Yeah,
with that autograph
he's. I will give him a big shout out. He is the guy. Star Wars. It's a Star Wars autograph news. You said
yes.
He and his group of friends that are on there. They quelled every fear I had going into this as a giant event. And so listening to, I believe he wouldn't remember, but communicating with them beforehand, like, what do I expect? How do I do? And they completely went through everything. If you were listening to their podcast, this is the way things usually go. This way. So big shout out to those guys. They made me basically 99% less stressful while I was there, just because I knew they knew what was going to go on. They knew who was there.
Frank is a great guy. We're going to be talking a lot about autographs and photographs for Celebration. He's going to join a Mocktails episode here before Celebration. You guys that think that Dan has a heavy Boston accent, wait till you hear Frank Rich.
Oh yeah.
I know he's a Red Sox fan. I know all of New England is. I don't know if he's from Boston. I think he might. Danny probably lives like around the block from you, You
know what? I probably have met him, to tell you the truth.
You probably met him with your other buddy that was joining the show tonight. Brian Klein actually chimes in, and he says that Brian Klein says the mask mandate should cut down on the con crud.
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
You know what? I was so pro mask, but because I had COVID and because I have my shots, I want to leave the whole mask thing behind at this point.
I think the mask thing, of course, it's in place so everybody is not, the airborne stuff is not getting transmitted. But if you're glad handing and hugging each other, well, that negates every mask mandate that there's going on. So if they're going to go full force with mask mandates, you would probably see the plexiglass. Like I shared in the group, it was Ming Na Wen signing autographs, and she had the plexiglass up in front of her with like there was a slot for them to slide their stuff under.
Right.
And I said it looked so gross because they must have just used hand sanitizing wipes and no Windex. So it was just all smeared and stuff.
Oh, man.
I don't think the mask mandates, as long as everybody's actually not interacting with the guests, but I don't see friends staying separate from each other. Nobody's not going to shake hands.
Here's the thing too. Okay, if you're gonna charge $100 for an autograph, I want to know before, as a customer, and I'll talk to Frank Rich about this as well. And I'm sure you can probably reach out to Philip Wise at some point before you make your purchase.
Yeah,
because they're doing the pre-tickets beforehand. I don't want to spend $100 on a photo op if there's going to be a plexiglass.
Yeah.
Yep. And I want to know that before I drop that kind of coin, because $100 for a photograph, unless it's Forrest Whitaker or Felicity Jones or Ewan McGregor or Diego Luna.
Oh wait, this list is growing. You're like, unless it's Ray Park or Natalie Portman.
Yeah. Okay, you know what? If Diego Luna's got a plexiglass in between me and him,
you're gonna spend the money
that instead of nothing.
See, there you go.
I get worried that like it's almost. And this is no judgment on you. I've thought about this because it came up. I think Barry brought it up in the group, but like maybe they combo it. You buy the autograph, you get the picture if it's going to be that situation.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't want to really gripe about it. I won't publicly do it and be like, oh, this is so messed up. There's a piece of plexiglass. Well, it's like, well, let's all be happy that we can be in the same room. So
Right,
I'm like,
yeah.
I'm torn between the purchase price and actual just humanity, and just like, well, yeah, we all still got to obey the rules in some respects, or else it's might get out of hand again. You never know.
Yeah, that's
well,
true.
friends of mine just went to Disney last week. Disney in Orlando, not Disneyland, but Disney World, and they said that it's really changed since I was there in November, which wasn't that long ago. That they're starting to inside the building, you don't have to wear your mask. And I know it's Florida and it's the Wild East.
The
Yeah,
Wild
exactly.
East.
That's accurate.
Florida,
And Andy's shaking his fist right now. Shut up, you.
I know.
All
dare you
my
make
race
fun of my
friends
state.
down in Florida, Florida's a very, very weird state, but that's a whole nother show.
That's a whole two episode show.
Yeah. But if Disney was very strict and they're kind of loosening up, I hope for the people that do want. Here's the thing: if the mask mandate in California is lightened up, people that still want to wear a mask can, and I don't think there's anything wrong with wearing a mask if that's what you want to do.
Right.
I don't think there's anything wrong with putting plexiglass in front of you and the fans. However, I do want to know that before I drop $100 on a photo.
Well, and I don't want to be judged, and I don't want to judge anybody while I'm there. I hope it's not like if I'm wearing a mask and they don't require it, that people are looking at me in some sort of socio-political way, like, oh, that guy.
Yeah.
It's like we're all here for one reason. Just let's all chill. I don't want to become some weird thing.
Yeah.
Which is weird because we've never, last 2 years we've gone through so much different stuff, and here we are as Star Wars fans going through a new experience during a different time. So it'll be very interesting. And like you said, Ian, you have to be human about it, and you have to just respect people. And again, I'm glad it's happening, because I know so many of us were like, is it happening? Is it happening? The announcements have been so late.
Yeah.
Until lately, last couple of weeks, like, hey, XYZ, Joe, Jane, and John are going to be there now.
Joe, Jane, and John. Joe, Jane, and John were my favorite.
I want to pay $100 for Joe's autograph.
Unless it's a combo package, then I'll fill out the cash for that.
You know what? I think that's a good point, though. A combo package. It's like because right now, an autograph and a photograph are the same price.
Yeah, or more. Sometimes the photos are more than the autographs.
Well, okay.
Right
so
now they seem to be like. Really
no, sorry.
They're even
finish
now.
your thought, Chris. Finish.
But Ian, to answer your question before, Ian, did I keep count?
Oh yeah.
With the autographs, I have no idea. I just have so many that I can't display them all.
Right.
They're all over the base lining. Was it at least the one area? I know you got that whole
they're
line.
all over the place.
It's all over the place. All over.
If you blink, yeah.
Yeah, if you blink, you're not even. I guess you haven't opened your eyes.
They just appear. More of them appear.
So some of these guests that were announced, some of them I was like, oh, okay, cool, that makes sense. But some of them like, this feels like an old school convention, because some of these names I wasn't like familiar with, but like they brought in like Amy. It says Amy Allen, Ayla Secura, she's going to be there, and of course Anthony Daniels. I don't think there's ever going to be a celebration without Anthony Daniels. I mean, once there is, I don't know what to really think. I mean, of course, how old is the guy now? I'm not even sure.
He's got to be in his 70s now, right? But I mean,
Yeah,
he's been there since the beginning.
Yeah.
And even with the interview with Dan Matson, he said,
Celebration one,
he said I don't think it would have gone as well if Anthony wasn't there, and really being the cheerleader of the celebration, trying to get people like all hyped up and excited about, hey, you guys are all here for Star Wars. And I just think that Anthony, he's one of those people who is like the mainstay during conventions. You're going to see him at every convention.
Well, it's one of those things like you're going to see him at every convention, but I've never had an interaction with him. I'm sure Chris has had to have, but but I've been afraid to approach that guy. It seems like one of those things like, I don't want to, because I like him so much. I'll be that guy that he does not want to meet, and that he's made very, very public that he does not want to hear from our blithering idiot mouths. Most of the time.
It is funny that you say that, because when I met Anthony Daniels at the end of Star Wars Celebration 1, Now, granted, it was a long weekend, and like you said, he was a cheerleader. He was a big part of it. I said, Anthony, can I have a photo with you? And he was just kind of like, sure.
Oh,
wow.
Okay.
So he said yes, and I was like, yeah, I was happy to get a photo with him. I knew he was tired. I didn't want to just think he was a total jerk, because I knew he went through so much to make it happen. But I think that's the dangerous thing about meeting people, and I've talked about this many times.
Yeah,
on a podcast, on a YouTube show. When you meet somebody that you admire and they're a total dick,
Well,
you're like, like Chris Archer, the pitcher for the Rays, he was a total dick to me. And I'm like, you know what?
but
I don't give a shit if you get traded or not,
Right.
It's almost one of those things, like if somebody came up to you and you're in the middle of your workday and you're hour 7 into hour 8, and some random person that you do not know comes up to you, and obviously if you're in that field, you're used to autographs, but just anybody comes up to you and just out of left field starts asking you for their time, to devote your little bit of time to them, you're going to be a little annoyed, because you're like, man, I've been here for 7 hours. I'm almost out of here. I'm like, what do you need? So that mentality will happen, but it doesn't necessarily mean that one moment during their time at work, that of course they were a little testy.
Yeah, when I was, I used to work at a record store, and my manager, she was an old school punk rocker, and she used to go to CBGBs and meet all the the people back in those days. And she met who was it? It was actually Patti Smith and Lou Reed.
Oh my God.
And she said, she's like, they were like the worst people, and she told me, she's like, never meet your idols, you're always going to be disappointed. And I really took that to heart. And
there is some truth to that.
Yeah, that's probably why I don't really go for autographs. I go for experience. I go for the conventions. I always say, man, especially in Chicago, it's like, I had a great time, but man, I met a ton of friends.
There was a good friend of mine. I'm going to the Rays Chicago series, White Sox and the Cubs against the Rays. He's like the only other Rays fan in Chicago. But Brad Riverdale loves music. Great. He plays with the band Bare Handbones. I love going to see his music. And I was talking to him and Tyler over some beers, and he goes, I don't like to meet people. And I think, Dan, there's a little bit of what you're saying with your friend at CBGB's, meeting Patti Smith and Lou Reed. It's like, those are legends,
Right.
And he's like, yeah, I remember I did this 501st event and George Lucas was there. And everybody's like, oh, George, you changed my childhood. And he's like, oh,
no.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no. He's like, no, please don't.
Emotion towards this guy. And he's like, oh, okay.
Well, and it is, I think it has that thing to do with it. A lot of creative folks, actors, musicians and stuff, they have their own, we're all introverts in some way. Like me, I like doing this. I can talk to you guys. I can edit the show. But if you catch me on the street and try to talk to me, I'm just going to be like,
yeah,
I'll listen.
I think if you wear your Deicide shirt, Ian, ultra intimidating.
Oh yeah, I got to grow the beard back out and put on the metal stuff, and then But then when you wear that, and then you're like, hey, how's it going, buddy? Everybody's like, oh, that's the nicest guy in the world. Here, look, I thought he was gonna mallet me on the head, and then he gave me a hug.
Well, I think that's the same thing too. When you meet your idols and the people that you respect, and they're super nice back to you. Like when I met Forrest Whitaker, the guy was nothing but super cool. Yeah. And I'm like, you know what? I like you even more than I did.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Or the baseball player, Ben Zobrist. I remember, him looking at me from across the field, and he's like, hey, man, you look like you want a photo. Like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, I'll take a photo. People like that go out of their way. People that are selling records, making films, signing autographs, they need to realize Star Wars Celebration is a big thing that is driven by the fans.
By the fans, oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And if you took the fans away, their success, they would still be great artists, great actors, great filmmakers, musicians, whatnot, but they would not be half or even a quarter successful if it wasn't for the fans.
Exactly. Absolutely.
So, I did want to share something with you. It's like show and tell tonight. Getting all these props. This is great. So, I did have some interaction with Anthony Daniels.
Oh, yes. Okay, I have seen
sorry
it.
about the glare there. So, Anthony signed.
You see his bowl and his weed on the table, everybody. No, I'm just kidding. He moved it, so that makes me think that's an actual real thing.
Yeah, right.
Anthony Daniels, I like this movie.
The best endorsement he would ever give anybody.
Right? Yeah, I mean, so I got this because of Dan Madsen. So Dan and I and Courtney talked to Philip Wise about signing autographs in the official picks area. And he's like, yeah, we're going to put you at the fan table, the Force.net fan table. I'm like, no, man, I want to be where everybody else is.
Right.
So Dan talked to him, and Philip's like, and Philip Wise, he's been a great supporter for a long time. And he goes, all right, I'm going to move you guys where the traffic is. So he puts us right where all the other actors are signing. We're signing for free. We're giving out these free posters. Anthony Daniels shows up, talks to Dan. Dan Madsen signing posters. Anthony Daniels starts signing posters for the Force Among Us. So there are some Force Among Us posters out there.
Let me tell you,
Anthony Daniels did that for free. For free. This is Celebration 4. Only time it happened, and unfortunately it won't happen again because now he's charging $130.
Right, yeah.
That honestly, that's still that seems right. That tracks for me. That doesn't seem bad for somebody that's been in every single one of the movies, right?
Yeah.
So he's the through line, and he knows who he is. He knows that we know who he is. So it's one of those supply and demand things, like Brian said. He knows why he's there. He's probably not going to be doing it that much longer,
Right.
Yeah. Okay, Brian did chime in. I'm a little lost and confused on his comments. Says Chris mocked. He made a movie.
That's what he should have wrote on your poster. Chris mocked. He made a movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There you go. But he liked the movie. I think that's I don't know. But making a movie is no easy task. Let me mind you.
You should put that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So
you should put that in the back. That's what you should have done.
I was going to try to bring it back to maybe things we were hoping to see, because that's what we were trying to talk about here. There's a lot of shows that were announced that I haven't heard really anything about. Like we had Andor, Obi, Ahsoka. We got Mando season 3. We have the Taika Waititi film.
Right.
I haven't heard anything other than Mando and Obi-Wan. I mean, other than Andor, there's been small things with Andor, like with Diego Luna, but I haven't heard a lot of movement on a lot of the project. Rogue Squadron.
Yeah, Rogue Squadron. I really wanted that.
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that they could blow us out of the water just by reminding us, oh yeah, remember you thought that thing wasn't going to happen?
Yeah,
here it is.
Yeah, exactly.
There's going to be a panel for each and every one of those. We are getting closer to the end of the show. There's a couple more things that I want to do with you guys. What's your number one favorite memory from Chicago? Ian, it sounded like you shared that earlier.
It was pretty much the Peter Mayhew meeting was one of the biggest highlights, because like I said, he was sweet to my son. It was nothing better could have happened. My son walked out of there with a giant hero. At that same time, and I've talked about it a million times, I ran into Dave Filoni. Never met the guy before, and I'm not that guy that's like ready to pull out a phone and stuff. So I wasn't like, let me get a selfie. So I was just like, hey Dave, like I knew him, and then he looked over, and I'm like, hey, thank you. Thank you for everything. I really enjoy. So it turned into one of those deals, but that was pretty cool. Sam it was just seeing everybody, just how much access they gave to everybody. They were out in the middle of the floor on that main Star Wars stage. That was probably the coolest thing. I hope they recreate that with this year for the folks that of course can't get into these big panels.
Yeah, I think they should. I think they will.
They have 2 hosts for that, so I think that is going to happen. But
I'm pretty sure that would happen because it's connected to the official Star Wars website. Really that is really their version of RFR Mocktails, the Star Wars autograph news. That is, if the Star Wars show isn't covering their own event, there's something wrong.
Yeah, and hopefully it'll be presented by Verizon or whoever steps in this time to make it and go dark for 8 minutes while they show that cool Obi-Wan footage while I'm at home and I can't see it and I gotta wait another 24 hours.
How about you? What was your favorite memory or favorite piece of merchandise that you purchased from Star Wars Celebration Chicago?
My favorite pieces that I got were the Black Series reissues of Obi-Wan Kenobi, young Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Darth Maul. Those are really cool.
The only one I got, the only figure I have in Lucite or whatever.
Yes. Yeah, those were great. But my memories, and like I was just saying here, I go in Chicago. I loved the convention, but the best part of it all is that I made a ton of friends. I was my wife and I were added onto this group called Going Solo for Celebration, and I told them like, hey, thanks for the invite, but I'm not going solo. I'm going with my wife, and he's like, they don't care. So, but like the thing was, it's like I got tickets. I got to go see a Chicago Bears. I'm sorry, not Bears, a Cubs game with like a ton of people I didn't even know, and then just like hanging out with them.
Wait a minute, whoa. You went to a Cubs game without me?
Yeah, we
didn't know each other. No,
we definitely knew each other, which is kind of funny because that was like one of the few times I didn't think that you would like remember me, because we would just like two ships passing in the night. We always like say hi to each other and hang out for a little bit.
I do have a pretty photographic memory, and I remember meeting you at Star Wars Celebration quite a while ago.
Yeah.
And you had I had my Rays hat, you had your Red Sox cap.
Exactly.
You can't forget about those moments.
Yeah, exactly. But it's really was what it was. It was just like I made a ton of friends and a lot of people that I still talk to, and I've been reaching out to them like pretty much all this year just to see like, hey, are you going to be able to make it? And if not, if they weren't going to make it, I'm sending them this. I'm sending like just so that it's a piece of the event that they can't reach out to get to be able to make it, and I want to make sure that they have something that they'll remember. Of what they missed out on because of one reason or another.
Nice. I think that's what not only Star Wars Celebration is about, meeting friends, but obviously Star Wars itself, because I met you guys over Star Wars. I met all these guys over Star Wars. Brian Klein, Tyler Page, Rich Brendel, John Zancanaro, the list.
I was going to say John's in there.
Yeah.
Even Brad Riverdall. Michael Wistock, who also produces a show. Kurt Ullman, who produces a show. There's so many people. Number one expectation. Oh, Dan, you also saw it snow in Chicago in April. That was kind of
That's the first time I had to get an Uber was because of the snow. I was like, what the hell's going on here? We were like taking the train to the museum. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Like,
and
I can't walk.
Snowing in April. It's 3 years later.
All 4 seasons in 5 days.
All 4 seasons in 5 days. Exactly.
Yes, it was amazing.
Chris, I got to say now that you guys were talking about the first time you met, I just always jokingly say the first time I met Chris Mocht and I have a vial of indoor dirt, it was basically like a hurried meeting with a panicked drug dealer, because he was in the middle, because this is con Chris, and I've got a preview of that. He is focused and he's ready, and he's like, yeah, okay, cool, yeah, you got buds, I got that, all right, cool, all right, where you going, all right, see ya. And that was pretty much it.
Is this what I scored during that?
Exactly, yeah. And it's like, it's so funny that you still have that, but at the time I'm like, man, I think he might have dropped them things.
Brian chimes in again. He's we're going to have a blast at those houses. Yeah, we actually rented two houses.
Thanks to Tyler.
I don't know, Tyler. Okay. Love Tyler, but he booked a place without a pool or a hot tub.
Oh, come on.
And these 2 places are a 10-minute. We talked about this last night. Is it a 10-minute walk or a 20-minute Bo Glazer stagger?
Yeah, no.
we will find out. But yes, Brian, you are right. We are looking forward to hanging out. I think we might even trade off. Like, okay, house number 1.
Right.
We'll have everybody over on Thursday, Friday, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great time.
Is there... Do you have anything planned, Chris?
I do have
Yeah.
the live show planned. I almost felt like that was like a go ahead and plug your show on your show.
Yeah. Do you have
I know,
anything
right?
planned, Chris?
Yeah.
Yes, I have something planned on Sunday at Unsung. Thanks to Brian for making sure I never forget that it's the name of the Helmet song and it's the name of a very cool, yes, superhero themed brewery.
Fucking
It's about
superheroes.
12 minutes away. 12 minutes away from the house. Expectations, guys. One expectation. What is it for Celebration Anaheim, which I'm calling Celebration 10. Right. Otherwise, we call it Celebration Anaheim 2. And then it's just going to be like, it's going to be, they need to go back to the Roman numeral numbers. They really,
I agree with that.
Expectations, brothers.
They screwed it up with Japan and Europe, man.
Yeah, there you go.
Ian, what's your expectation for Celebration?
I other than like like I said, this whole thing started as just a trip to Anaheim to me. I didn't think I was actually going to get Celebration tickets. I was happy that they went on sale. Me and my girlfriend both double dutied, and made sure we got some tickets. We got the Tomash brothers at least some Saturday tickets. So I'm really my only expectation is just to have fun, see everybody. I don't have anything that like, oh, this has to happen, because there's going to be cool stuff that I'm not thinking of that they have planned. Like I said, we don't know what's coming up. It looks like a somewhat paltry situation when you look at a guest list or like the panels. There's a couple cool ones that were announced, but I have nothing that's really like, I need to see this other than Obi-Wan, which I'm like, oh man, that sucks. That got moved 2 days, but it's also cool because at the same time we get 2 episodes and we'll all be in the same. So everybody will be freaking out at the same time.
I think he's another one that I would take the plexiglass in the middle for and just settle for that, because it would be his first.
There's no way he's not going to show up.
Exactly. Amen to that. He's going to be there. I'll take the plexiglass with Diego Luna and Ewan McGregor just for that experience. And if it's not there, then it's going to be like extra smiles, right?
Yeah.
Like, arms around each other, having a good time like the old days.
You do the hover arm like you're a nervous nerd.
It'll be worth what. Yeah. I don't know, man. I had this when I got this photograph with Felicity Jones. I almost, when I look at that photo of me and her, I feel like I'm creeping myself out. So Dan, how about your expectations for Celebration Anaheim, or Celebration 10? Let's call it from here on out.
Yeah. I'm meeting up with friends, meeting up with you guys. I met up with a lot of these people actually during your birthday, your 8 or 9 hour birthday events that you had
during the pandemic. Yes.
Yep. And just hanging out at the house, and then I'm expecting to see a lot of trailers for the TV shows that are going to be coming out. I'm not really sure about like any movies or anything. There probably just going to be some kind of like announcements, but I can't really imagine there's going to be like any like trailers or anything we're going to be expecting. I mean, they really quiet about that, so I'm not really expecting a whole lot for any of like future of the franchise when it comes to movies. I don't know, like it's just, there's just so much stuff that's going on that's up in the air. I think they're just going to be mostly focusing on anything that has to do with streaming.
Dan, you make a good point with the whole birthday marathon that I did 2 years ago. And Ian, going back to what you said, like just being in the moment and being there and just enjoying that we're all together.
Yeah.
We're going to be together on May 25th, and it'll be really surreal to think about 2 years ago. We were on Zoom, and here we are hanging out on that exact same day.
Yeah.
Two years later.
And it's funny. Dan and I have mentioned it many times, and everybody knows we haven't met in person. This will be the first time that we actually have. Yeah, we'll actually be able to size ourselves up and see that we're both 6'4".
It's crazy because I forget about that. Dan, I've met you in person several times, not several times, but a handful of times.
Yeah, a handful.
And likewise, we were. It was a year ago today that we were up in Gurnee for Dan's favorite movie,
Godzilla versus King Kong.
Oh, that 2 hour off-road 40X experience.
Yeah.
And it was like sitting in a car just shaking for 2 hours. That was it. And getting some water sprayed in your face every once in a while.
Yeah, well, I was a little high at that time too.
Yeah.
it made for a fun show. Hey, Ian and Dan, I got to thank you guys for inspiring me to do. Somebody had to kick off the Celebration preview show.
Yeah, thank you.
You guys said, hey, let's cut the white ribbon. But before I let you go, I'm going to reverse the tables a little bit. I'm going to play a lightning round of some Celebration trivia.
You son of a. Okay, I see what's happened here.
You guys host trivia. We did trivia last night.
Yep, that's true.
I suck at trivia.
I did too, because you saw I wasn't. It was all Tyler and Dan, and you saw I think I got one out of 18, 20 questions.
Dan, you make these with the 3D printer, and these are
the awards.
People win.
Yep, now, absolutely.
How do people are wondering right now, how do I get involved in Star Wars trivia and win something that cool? Is it open to the public?
You be a cool dude and somehow squeak your way in.
Yeah. I don't know, like when it comes to that group, it's like very exclusive and you have to be like invited to it.
Yes. No, I think it was Brian that invited me, and I don't even remember the initial thing, honestly. It was something to do with trivia, and I don't remember what happened. All of a sudden I was doing the trivia, I was going a little high. Yes, Brian.
Yeah, I was a little high. Yeah,
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know how I ended up in the group really legitimately, but I'm glad that got to meet all you folks.
Yeah, I think Andy from Miami was the last one to join the group. And last night when we were together, I haven't done the trivia thing in a while, but it just reminded me of how all this started, how relationships started, how connecting with people started, how Machtails from the Cantina started.
Yeah,
it was all because of the pandemic, and it's crazy. I was getting a little flashbacks.
Yeah, dude, and everything you do with the Wappa Cave, like I love just the little vignettes into the collections. Like I was telling you the other day, Deveronians and the Zabrak or the creepiest species in Star Wars. That was my go-to because Devil Man, every time I saw him, the Deveronian from the original, I'm like, that's just so weird. He looked freaky. Like a weirdo. That's pretty much all he was doing.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying those Wappa Cave segments. My collection is not as big as Steven Sansweet's, but for a lot of you guys, it might be a little bit more accessible. And I do these weekly segments. Which, by the way, Rancho Obi-Wan is open again. They are going to be at Star Wars Celebration.
Absolutely.
But I do these weekly segments for Patreon members where I kind of take them virtually, if you will, into my collection. And thank you guys for being supporters. Now, Ian, you're trying to sidetrack me and talk your way out of trivia, distract me. It's not going to happen.
Damn it, I thought it was going to work. I thought I sidelined him. I thought he was going to end the show and just stop. And I was like,
I know, right?
So, I'm going to start with question number one. Number one.
Do we need paper and a pen?
There's not a lot of questions. This is not going to take very, very long. How many celebrations? Okay, you guys are paying attention today, I'm sure. We know that 10, this is celebration 10 in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
How many celebrations took place outside of the U.S.? Outside of the U.S.
Wait, do we give a on the count of three we hold up our hands?
3, 2, 1 on your hand. Both say 3. It was actually 4.
4.
I'm pretty sure because
wait, you're not even sure yourself?
No, I know this.
How do we do?
This is just like our trivia.
No, I'm throwing this out.
4. Google it. There's 4. Celebration
Japan?
Europe, who I was a part of Celebration Europe as a VIP guest promoting The Force Among Us. That was 2007. Then it was Celebration Japan.
Yeah, Japan, yeah.
That was 2008. Then it was Celebration Germany.
Yep.
And then it was Celebration England. London again.
In London,
2016. That's the one I missed out on because that was the Rogue One cast reunion. Right. It's the only time that it happened.
Okay.
So I was correct on 4. Good guess, guys. Good guess.
Yeah.
You guys were close. Which would make this Celebration 14. 14.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yep.
How many celebrations took place during April? Was it A, 2, B, 5, or C, 7? C is the choice, not C is in celebration. 7.
Okay, wait, are we doing this again? Let's see.
I'd say
how many?
No, well, okay.
On the hands. 5, okay.
I was going to say, damn it. All right.
See, that's why
yes, it was 5. Good going. Okay. Celebration 1, celebration 3, C7, C8, and C9.
Right.
See, to me, I was like, I always remembered everybody complaining about the heat and stuff. So I'm like, well, was that later in the year? So I was I'm like, it couldn't have been more than half.
Right. Yeah, because you don't relate Star Wars celebrations to the heat. But I would say, I talk about this a lot on my podcast show. I have this relationship with spring and Star Wars together, and this proves it right here. Yeah. Half of the celebrations took place in April. Star Wars is a spring thing. There's been a couple of those other 5 were in May.
In August. Remember the one in August?
I remember 2 in August. Those were hot as F.
Yeah.
Was that the
Florida?
Orlando ones?
Yeah.
That's ones where they're like, don't sleep on the sidewalks because there's alligators, you idiots.
Celebration Orlando in August. Brian Klein says, I set up the group to coordinate all of my Star Wars friends for an RFR Bible Freaks Zoom hang, what Celebration 2020 would have been.
That's what it was. Okay. Yeah. So that's where we all ended. That's what I knew that, but it slipped my mind. Thanks, Brian.
Yeah.
And then Rich Brendel says the voice description of Mandalorian calls
Zabrak, Dathomir. I think he meant, was it Dathomirian? Like Dathomir?
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So
last trivia question is the only celebration or celebrations to be 5 days long.
Oh,
I think it's the only one.
Which ones?
5 days long. You guys tell me which ones.
Chicago.
I was going to say Chicago because that's the only one I looked up earlier. I went, oh,
Chicago
God, that was that
5 days long.
Yeah.
The other one that I got to brag about this. I was going to get my VIP pass and show you guys. I was VIP at Celebration 4, which actually was on my birthday, May 25th, 2007. I just wish. Why didn't they make this one 5 days? Have it over May 25th, man.
Yeah, I know.
It's happened before. It's not like it has not happened.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that thing of like with the Obi-Wan announcement of like the schedule thing. It's like they went, don't
get me started on that.
We got Celebration. Oh God, we didn't think about this.
We'll get another hour,
days,
right?
We're talking moving to 2 days. Okay, one, you released it on May 25th because we all know what that date means.
Right.
And 2, you're bumping in 2 days. You're releasing it during Celebration. All the fans that want to watch it are going to have to somehow figure out their busy Celebration schedules to schedule in the premiere of.
They want that sweet panel reveal, man.
Yes,
they don't want you to watch it on your own. They want to show it at a freaking Star Wars Celebration and everybody lose their minds and we can't watch it for another 24 hours.
Exactly.
And I still think they should have started Celebration on May 25th. I am glad. Remember, guys, RFR Bash tickets are on sale to the public. We will be there.
I'll be selling photos of us.
You'll be selling photos. I'll be giving away free shit.
I was going to say, I'll give you $10 to take an autograph from us.
I'm not doing free autographs, free photos, and I'm giving away free swag, including, stickers, coasters, buttons, all kinds of cool shit.
Every kind of ephemera.
Look out for Dan. He's got the really cool, the really cool video game 3D print, and Ian is going to have buttons for your show.
We're working on Dan and Ian go to Celebration. Just get those pins at least done, and I hope to have something extra special, that we pass out during the RFR event if that ends up working out.
So, do you guys have a Patreon page or? Everything's free. You guys don't charge for your podcast like I do.
No, not yet. I don't think we're not in the stratosphere yet.
No. You can pretty much, like we said, it should be on any kind of podcatcher. If it's not, please tell us if there's a technical difficulty, because sometimes you look at something on your end, it looks like it's running, then I hear from somebody, hey, this isn't coming up.
Apple Podcasts, a lot of people listen to that. I think that came up. That was the first thing that came up on Google.
That and even the Facebook's been awesome with they have a podcast feature that basically it'll do a visualization of the pod that you can just share, which is awesome.
Right.
You can get out there. But yeah, anybody just get a hold of us. Dan and Ian have questions on Facebook, Dan and Ian pod at gmail.com.
Yeah, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, all that fun stuff.
We're on there. You'll look at us and you'll be like, these guys really aren't on here. We're on there. I check it.
Dan and Ian go to White Castle. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank my guests. And you know what's funny? This is like live show number 50, and I've never done this before.
Yeah.
But you guys need to just appreciate the moment. I want to thank my guests for being on the show, Ian Savage.
Hey.
Also, my brother, Boston Dan. And I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Brian Klein, John Zaccanaro, Rich Brendel. I want to thank my show producers, Todd, Suds, Sedlak, Michael Wistock, Kurt Holman, all my Patreon. I feel like I'm like doing a Mocktails finale. Like I've received an award. I'm like, okay, thank you, everybody. Good night. But be sure to tune in during the month of April and May, leading all the way up to Star Wars Celebration. We will be doing a lot of Celebration pre-show specials. You guys can learn from, chime in on, share your experiences, and learn some tips and what to do, what not to do, all that good stuff. I want to thank you guys again for tuning in. We will catch you guys next time on Mocktails from the Cantina. Another round. So long, everybody. Have a good week.